Hey everybody, I'm Bunny and welcome to Kolor. And so in this video, we are coloring out of Romantic Country. At the moment, I do not have the book in front of me, so I'm not sure which tale it is, but I'm pretty sure it's the first one. It obviously will be the right one in the title. So on this page, I wanted to break out my paints. I am very much liking painting right now. And so I wanted to go ahead and try to practice my painting with acrylic paint. So I am using apple barrel paint that I got from Walmart. Man, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Okay, and if I remember the colors, I will put them in the description. I know that this particular color that I'm using right now is called Holly Branch. And so for the evergreen trees, I am using 2 types of green and a yellow. And then a brown. You'll see me bring in the brown to darken things up, and then I go over that with the green, and that really worked out well. I like that a lot. So throughout this video, I may talk, but for the most part, it is going to be music. And then, so I'm telling you up front, so if you do listen to this video and you let the music play, to not like freak you out when all of a sudden you hear my voice, jump in, because I may come in with like a little insight or commentary. I will try to put some some things written into the video, but you may hear me pop in at some point in this video. But other than that, I hope you enjoy it. I have another video coming that is also a acrylic paint, and then another one that is alcohol marker and pencil, and that one is really going to be a really decent one when you see why I tried that out. Okay, but yeah, so let's get into this page. also, I forgot to warn you up front that there will be quick transitions within this video, because I did go through and take out the parts where I was deciding what colors to use. I took out parts where you can't really see. I wasn't in frame, and I wasn't paying attention because my how I film, I can't see if I'm in frame. And I usually, if you notice, I will move the book around sometimes when I'm painting, and I sometimes I forget about, oh yeah, let's make sure it's in frame. So you will see quick transitions, and I apologize for that, but to be honest with you, I don't see it changing anytime soon with these pre-recorded videos, because who wants to sit and watch 10 minutes of a blank screen of nothing happening and me trying to figure out what color I'm using, or watching something and it's not in frame but it's things going on. So I cut those out. So here you are seeing me add that brown into these evergreen trees, and once you go over it with the green, you don't notice that there was even a brown color there. I don't know why I decided to use brown to do this, but it worked out so well, and I'm actually very happy with the trees. I'm also happy with the red trees in the background. When I first started, I was like, oh, this looks horrible. This looks horrible, but I was like, if I don't like it, I can always just paint it blue. Speaking of painting it blue, the sky and the clouds gave me the worst problems. It was the hardest thing to do on this entire double page. I am still not happy with it. It really just did not come out the way that I wanted. But the rest of the page I am super happy with. Okay, so now we're getting into this pond situation. Okay, also, if you hear like a sound in the background, it is summertime, y'all. It's hot. I have the fan on. So that's the noise that you're hearing. But back to the lake. It took a while to try to figure out this lake, right? I was trying to avoid painting over the flowers when I was doing the green, right? When I was doing the grass. And then I was thinking about trying to avoid it when I was doing the pond. But then I was like, you know what? That's fiddly and I don't really even want to deal with that. I'm going to paint over it and then I'll figure out how to attempt to put those flowers back. But yes, this pond gave me issues. There is another page in this book that has a pond in it, and I figured it out on that page. I didn't quite figure it out on this page. It came out okay, but the other page, I figured it out. But yes, this is me working through. Side note for those who are sometimes like me and you see something and you're like, you missed the spot, you missed the spot. I know there is going to be a white spot there. It will be covered later at some point in this video, but warning, and if that bothers you, you're going to see it for a little while longer. So y'all gonna see in a second me break out the phone, right? to try to put back the flowers, right? Let me tell you, I really tried. And then partway through, I was like, forget this. Like, I'm not going to be able to recreate those lines. And so I just started just filling in with some random shapes and flowers to try to fill that space up and try to put something that was there back there. But it's definitely not the flowers that were originally drawn. Okay, but I gave it an attempt for a few minutes and then I was like, yeah, let's just do some type of flowers. good stuff. If you all have been around and watched my videos on and off for the last few years, then you know I usually do the background and then I'll leave what I'm looking forward to the most for the last thing that I do on a page usually. And so if it's a page with a person on it, then it's usually going to be the person that I leave for last. If it's just a person, then I usually do everything but the face. Usually. But with this page, obviously, it was the swans. And then I knew that I wanted to do one white and one black. And I really like how they came out. I'm super happy with it. I did make a mistake and had some colors mixed in with my white. But I ended up being able to fix that, as you can see. And yeah, overall, I am just really super happy with this page for it. And y'all know I don't usually say that a lot. So yeah, this is one of the times where I can say that this page, though it did not come out how I pictured it, I am still very happy with it and very motivated to keep learning how to paint better. But I like the way this scene looks, especially the trees, and especially the swans. I think in my next picture, actually, matter of fact, the next video is the alcohol marker and color pencil, because that page, yeah, so that's the next page. But then after that, I'm working on right now another acrylic painting. I made some mistakes. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to fix one of the really bad mistakes that I made. But so, like I said, the lake, the pond looks way better. I haven't started the swans yet. And I'm working on trying to do a really cool night sky. So I'm really looking forward to that. So you will see these swans again in a future video. But I am done talking because we are close to the end of the video. I hope you all like the double pager. You will see these swans again. Excuse me. You will see these swans again, and if you would like to see more, subscribe, give it a like, leave a comment if you feel like it, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys. Bye.